Hi guys, welcome to video 10. Today we will be looking at Lydende in Bedrywende Vorm, which is also tested under Strukture question 8 in your exam. It's also important to understand word order of sentences because this also links to your creative writing. Remember that. Also, when we read novels, you will also pick up a few stompie rules, leidend en bedrywend. One thing that we do pick up a lot is deelwoorde, but we will look at that in another video. So ons het leidende en bedrywende vorm. Okay, now first you need to understand or remember bedrywende vorm, that is stompie. This is your active voice. So that means he kicks the ball. It's an action taking place right now. Where in passive voice, it's sort of someone else saying that that ball was kicked by the boy. So you shift the focus from the subject to the object, but it's not as active as saying, I'm kicking the ball or the boy kicks the ball. It's not as active when you put the object first. Right, so this is Stompy. So let's recap Stompy before we go into the actual rules for active and passive voice. Because you use Stompy and from there you build on it a new formula. So you need to be able to identify your subject, your verb one. Verb one, so you'll have your main verb if it's present tense, and you'll have a helping verb or an auxiliary verb if it is in past or future tense. Then you have your adverb of time. So, how is the boy kicking the ball? When did the boy kick the ball? Then we have object, which is the who or what, so the ball. Then we'll have manner. This is how did the boy kick the ball. Then we have place, where, adverb of place, where did the boy kick the ball. Then we have verb two. Verb two you will only have if it is future or past. You will not have a verb two if it is a present tense sentence. And then you will have your infinitive, which can be three things. You don't always have your infinitive. Remember, none of these things are always there. It's most likely it will just storm a subject, a verb, and an object. That must be there to make a nice sentence. Everything else is extra stuff. You don't always have it. But remember, an infinitive can either be a and a verb. It can be a hoef nie. Then the rest, so hoef nie môreoggend die bal te verb nie. Or you can have a behoort. This means should. Behoort and then your te and your verb. So if any of those three can be an infinitive. When we do active and passive voice, we mostly only work with this one, but always be on the lookout for the hoef nie and the behoort as well. They also qualify as infinitives. All three of these. You do get way more. You can get I'm not going to give examples, that might just confuse you. It's only these three that we look at in the IEB Afrikaans additional language curriculum, but there is more that does exist. So when you ever read something with a te, when you're just reading a story or something and you see a te, but there's not a omo or a behoort, remember there is more. But we only test these three in the IB additional language curriculum. So that's the only three that I'm focusing on. Right, so let's just recap Stompy quickly. So you have your subject, which is who or what is doing the action. Okay. Then you have your verb 1. A verb in Afrikaans is 'n werkwoord. So you have your verb 1. This is either a main one if it's present tense, so skop, die seun skop die bal, or it will be a helping verb, soos die seun het die bal geskop of die seun sal die bal skop, those helping verbs. Then you have your time, so when. Then you have your object. Object is who or what is receiving the action. So it's important to recognize for subject, it can also be a what. The school buys all the kids pizza. Then the school is a what. It's not a who, but we are classifying all the people, the whole management team teaches everyone, the school, from the school's finances, they are buying you guys pizza. So remember that it's not always a person that's the subject. Sometimes it can be a thing or a place that's also the subject. Okay, then you have your manner. I wrote tyd in Afrikaans because it's also time, but it's not manner. So it's manner, but it's actually in Afrikaans, dit is 'n bywoord van wyse of way, how, way. Okay, so then you ask how. Then you have place of plek. Dit is waar. Ag, now I'm completely mixing up. Okay, waar, so where. Where is this happening? Okay, so that's how you ask. It's all adverbs. If you don't have a verb, you can't have time, manner, or place because it's all adverbs. It's adverb of time, adverb of manner, adverb of place. And then you have your verb to, which will have a ge if it's past tense. Right. So I'm going to make 3 videos, one where we look at present tense, one where we look at past tense, and one where we look at future tense. So for today, we're going to look at present. What is present tense in Afrikaans? Present tense is in Afrikaans teenwoordige tyd. So the object of this is you are supposed to be able to communicate. So yes, we do test this in the exams. We do test the rules. It is 12 marks of your total 100 marks in your paper 1. But at the end of the day, in your creative writing, you use this, and when you just communicate, you use this. Right, so present tense is teenwoordige tyd in Afrikaans. So I've already told you, if we have a stompie sentence in Afrikaans, you will only have a verb 1 if it is present tense. You will not have a verb 2. Sometimes you can have yeah. Sometimes you can have a preposition there. Then you must glue it to the verb 1. But it's not a verb. A preposition is not a verb. But sometimes after place, you can have a preposition. Then we call it a phrasal verb. So how did you kick the ball up? Then that up goes with you kick it up, or stand up, sit down. Those are phrasal verbs. The preposition goes with the verb, and we have that in Afrikaans as well. Then you glue it to the verb 1, but it's not a verb 2. So I'm going to start with a simple sentence, and then I'm going to make the sentences more complex as we look at more examples. So when we test active and passive voice. You are supposed to I'm supposed to give you a bedrijven and you need to take it to Lydende, but I can also give you Lydende and you're supposed to take it back to bedrijven, back to a normal stompie sentence. So that's why it's important to always remember your formulas. Just like in math, you have certain formulas that you need to know. You have way more in maths than in Afrikaans. That's why you get a formula sheet. In Afrikaans, all you need to remember is stompie and these other three formulas. Other than that, it's just normal study work. Right. So you have your present tense, teenwoordige tyd. So how do my formula look for present tense, lydende vorm, teenwoordige tyd, lydende vorm? So that is, we start with object. This I always give you. I'll show you how do I give it to you. Then you add word. So if you look at your stompie, there isn't a word. We have to add it. Then you have your time and your manner. Then you have to add a deer. So it's kicked by the boy. So the deer is the by that you have in English. So it's always followed by the subject. Then it's place. Now, this isn't past tense. This is past participle. I'll show you now. So you have to add a ge because you need to make it past participle. But we don't have that in Afrikaans. We just use past tense for everything, but it's actually a past participle. I'll show you now what it is. And then you have your verb one, and then you'll have your infinitive. Okay, so we've added a word, we've added a deer, and we've added a ge. So that's all things that you need to remove if you need to take it from this back to stompie. You need to remember you have to remove everything we have added. This we added, this we've added, and this we added. But everything you added, you must now remember remove. You must remember to remove all those pink things that we added. You must remove it when we go back. Okay, so let's look. So I'm going to write in Afrikaans and in English for the first example, and then I'm only going to do Afrikaans. So I'm going to do this a simple one. I said I'll start with a simple one. Die seun eet 'n appel. Okay, so there's what I said at the beginning there when I highlighted the green things here. Yeah. I said you only need a subject, a verb, and an object. Then you have a sufficient sentence. So there we have subject, verb one, and an object. So that's present tense. So in English, the sentence will be the boy eats an apple. Okay. So let's do the English one first so that you can understand what a past participle is if you didn't know. So the past of eat, the past tense of eat is ate. Then you get a past participle, which is then eaten. That's the past participle. That's the one we use when we do active and passive voice. We don't have that in Afrikaans. We just use a ge for everything. Okay, whether it's past tense or past participle, we use a ge. Okay, so the boy eats an apple will change to an apple. So there's my object now. An apple is eaten by the boy. So that's how the English one will look. So there I have the by. That's the deer you'll have in Afrikaans. That is that we added there. That's the word that I added there. And then I change this to past participle. That's the ge that I'll have. So everything is there, in the Afrikaans one that you have in the English one, it's always just the word order is different. If you want to put a word in an English sentence, that word will be there. So if you want to add a can, for instance, or you want to feel like you want to add a must, for instance, in the sentence in order for it to make sense, that is what you're going to do in Afrikaans as well. The word order will just always be different, but you will still have a bag of all the same words. It is just the word order. How you arrange the words so that it makes sense in Afrikaans is different, but you will still have the same words. All right. So I will always give, so this is how your sentence will look in the test, and then I will give you a apple. Just take note to what I'm doing here. If you start a sentence with a, the word that follows is always a capital letter. If you start a sentence with a, the word that follows is always a capital letter. So I give you this, and then, so that's how it will look in the exam. You have your sentence, and I give you an apple. Then you know, okay, ma'am's giving me object, so she's testing Lydende en Bedrywende Vorm. Then in your answer book, you will write, or when you're typing, you will write a apple. Right. This is present tense because we only have one verb. So I'm going to use this formula. I studied and memorized that after the object, I need to add a word. Then I don't have time or manner, so I skip it. And I put dear because my formula says I must add dear. Then my subject is die seun. And then my formula says I must adige, so adige, and then my verb one is eat. And because there's so many vowels, you need to indicate where the syllable is joined. It's there. 'n appel word deur die seun geëet. So that's the most simple sentence you can get. So there's the English one so that you understand where I'm getting words and why it is the way it is. You need to memorize the formulas. All right. So we're busy with present tense. So I said we're going to start with a simple sentence, and I'm going to add more and more and more words to the sentence. Right. Die juffrou kyk vinnig TV om te ontspan. Okay, the teacher quickly watches TV to relax. Right, so first you need to know your stompie. That's what I said. Okay, I said I'll always give you the object, and that's how it will look in your exam. So die juffrou kyk vinnig TV om te ontspan. So first you need to know stompie. So let's look at it quickly. That red that I did there, you have to always know it because this always comes into play no matter what you do. Always resort back to stompie, and then active and passive voice builds on it. Right, so die juffrou, we obviously immediately know TV is object because ma'am gave me that. Then the juffrou is doing the action. What is she doing? She's watching it. So that's verb one. Quickly, that's manner. Okay? Yes, that can happen. Okay? That's why understanding what you're doing is super, super important, especially in the Goed Beter Afrikaans textbooks that we use. They do have sentences like this sometimes where you'll think the manner is supposed to be somewhere, but if you ask yourself, how is she watching it? She's watching it quickly. That's definitely manner. So don't think it can't be manner because it's not after the object. Comprehension, understanding, that is the biggest objective, and then being able to communicate from your understanding. So if you ask yourself, vinnig is supposed to be manner, but if you want to make it time, it wouldn't matter in the answer. But quickly is how. Okay, that's manner. And then te ontspan, that whole thing, there's a so everything after is infinitive. Don't think there's another verb. An infinitive has a verb, but it's part of your infinitive. Don't go and say that's verb 2. Don't make that error. Don't go and say that's verb 2. It's not. It's a part of your infinitives verb. That verb belongs to your infinitive. Don't mix it up. Right. So my formula says if it's present tense, it's present tense. There's only one verb. So in my answer, please don't leave out the T because I gave you the TV. Please don't leave it out in your answer. I will mark it wrong. You write full sentences in your exam. So you start with TV, word, says I must add word. Then time and manner needs to go there. So whether you labeled that time incorrectly, your answer will still be correct. But it's manner, it's not time. TV word, vinnig. Then my formula says I must add dear. After dear must be the subject, die juffrou. Then my formula says I must add ge and my verb and then my infinitive. Right. So you have to do your stompie every time. Right, let's look at a third example. Let's see. Die katjie, the kitten. Hardloop. Elke dag. I can't think of a sentence now where there's an object. Die katjie hardloop elke dag. Because now I want to go straight to place. Let's rather think of a different example because this one's not going to work. You can have, or let's leave it and then I'll show you what to do if you don't have the object. Die katjie hardloop. They don't like asking this, but you never know. Die katjie hardloop elke dag na die huis om te eet. Okay, so now if we stompie analyze it, we have subject, then we have verb 1. Every day, that's time. To the house is place. And then to eat is infinitive. So there's no object. So then I will have to give you what to start with because that's the rule. So I will give you the word daar. You add the word daar. If there's no subject, you add the word hulle. If there's no object, you add the word daar. So let me just write down here what I said. If for some reason you don't have a subject, then you add hulle. But this is super unlikely. So don't go and do it now, even if I've given you a subject. And this, or you'll add hulle. And then if there's no object, you add door. This is only for active and passive voice. This is for nothing else. Everything else, you can answer the sentences without subjects and objects. This is only for active and passive voice, nothing else. Okay? So a door is what I gave you now. So don't freak out when you see a door. It's right, because there wasn't an object. So we had to make up one. So we give the word there. Okay? Then you follow what is supposed to. So in your answer book, you write what I give you. You don't leave it out. It's wrong if you leave it out. So dis daar word. Then it's time or manner. So elke dag. Then time manner, we've added deur subject, deur die katjie, deur die katjie. Then followed by place. Then add your verb 1. Om te eet. Om te eet. Right, let's see if I can think of a number 4. Die meisie, kom ons sê ondersteun. That means support. Die meisie ondersteun daagliks. Daagliks die Snoopy gewillig by die skool om met die leiers te gesels. Okay, there's a bunch of big words. So we have support, we have daily, the tuck shop, willingly, at the school, to chat to the leaders or prefects. Okay, so there's everything. Right. And then I will give you the Snoopy. That's what I give you. So in your answer book, you write the Snoopy, because you do not get full in. The matric paper isn't full in. So we do tend to avoid fill in exams in high school. All right, because we need to prepare you for matric. So this, you write the Snoopy. Even though I've given it to you, you take that first part and you write it down in your answer book. Don't leave it out. It is wrong if you leave it out. Okay, the thing is, when it gets to matric, guys, we have to mark so much. We don't want to sit and look and try and figure out what you tried to say. So make sure your answer is as perfect as possible so that the marker can just give you the marks right from the start. Instead of having to run around to 5 different people asking if what they should do here, can they give you the mark? And then the answer will be no at the end of the day because you did not follow instructions. It says, write the part, write the full sentence down in your answer book. That's what the instruction says. If you leave that first part out, you're not writing down the full sentence in your answer book. So you're giving me an incomplete answer when I'm testing language rules. So write down these. Okay? So now what's my formula? I'm just going to write it down here quickly again so that we don't need to go back up all the time. So you're going from Stompie. So this is your Stompie, and we are going to object. Then we have to add word, time, manner, dier, subject, place, ge, verb, one, infinitive. So we're going from that to that. So if we quickly analyze it, die meisie, let's take a different color. Die meisie was subject, ondersteun was verb one, daagliks, daily is time, die snoepie is object, willingly is manner, at the school is place, and to chat with the prefect is infinitive. Right, now we need to do that. So we need to take that to the, need to take this one to this formula now. So we need to add word because that's what my formula says. My formula says add it. That's what you're supposed to do, so that's what we're doing. This should be word. Then it's time, manner. Do I have? Yes, I have both. Word daagliks, gewillig, deur die meisie, ondersteun is one of those verbs that don't need a ge. Ondersteun by die skool. So that's what my formula says. Word daagliks deur die meisie by die skool. I messed up my formula. By die skool. Left out place there. Be careful that you don't make the same mistake. Die snoepie word, time, manner, daagliks, deur yes, die meisie yes, place as skep. By die skool, ondersteun, or you can have ge, you don't need it. Ondersteun is a verb that you don't need a ge. Ondersteun om met die leiers te gesels. Right, there we have it. Now, as long as you follow that formula, double check it so that you don't make that mistake that I just did. Didn't double check, I skipped the place, I wrote the verb, I'm like, oh wait, I still need place, and I just wrote it down, but I didn't make sure. So make sure. Right, now, when you feel like you can do that, then we move on to now, we're going from passive back to active. So you are going from this object, word, time, manner, deur, subject, place, ge, verb, one, infinitive. You must take back to normal stompie. Right. So let's look at how we're going to do this. Die restaurant word elke Vrydag deur die man besoek. Besoek is visited. It starts with a b, so it doesn't get a g, but that's visited. Okay, the restaurant is visited by the man every Friday. Right. So now I immediately see this and I see this. So I know that it is in this formula because I see a word or I see a deer, one of the two. I know immediately it'll be in it's this formula that ma'am gave me. I give you the man. So then automatically, because I have a woord and a deer, this is object. Because object is followed by word or whatever my other formulas for my other two tenses are. So this is obviously subject. And also subject is for our deer is followed by subject. So there's my subject. So if you look at this formula, we have object. Word was something that was added. Elke Vrydag, that's time. Deur is something that I added. Die man besoek is verb 1. It doesn't get a g because it starts with a BE. Right. Now I need to take it back to Stompie. This I added, so I need to remove it now. It's not going to be in my answer. You have to remove it because it goes with this formula. It doesn't go with this formula. So if I want this now, I need those things removed that I added. So now I have subject. Subject is followed by verb 1. According to this formula, my verb 1 is all the way here at the end. So I need to find it. It's besoek. Die man, you have to write down in your answer book or type in your answer. Then I have my verb 1. Die man besoek. Then time. Do I have time? Yes, I have time. Elke Vrydag. Okay, then object. Do I have object? Yes, die restaurant. Make sure it's a small letter now. Elke Vrydag die restaurant. Do we have anything else? No. Die man besoek elke Vrydag die restaurant. There is your answer. Let's double check. Let's see. If I look, die restaurant, yes, I have it. There it is. Elke Vrydag, yes, I have it. There it is. Die man, yes, I have it. Besoek, yes, I have it. And I removed everything that I'm not supposed to have. Yes. Everything else is there. And everything that's not supposed to be there, I have removed. Let's look at another example. Die wetenskapklas word gereeld deur die juffrou gestraf om hulle 'n les te leer. Okay, so now I have here a word that might be new to you. Gereeld is usually. Gestraf means punished. To teach them a lesson. Right. So the science class is usually punished by the teacher to teach them a lesson. Right, that's the sentence I gave you. And then in the question paper, then I will give you the juffrou. Okay? So in your answer book, you write die juffrou before you start with the rest of your answer. Die juffrou. Right. So immediately I see there's a woord, I see there's a deer, and I see there's a ge. Those are things that I added in that formula. I know this is my formula that starts with an object because I have word that I added that I must now take away. I have deer. So if it's object word, this is time or manner, usually. When or how? When, maybe? I'm not sure. Then you do this. I'm not sure. It can be either or. Okay? We'll figure it out now. You can decide with time, when, usually, how, usually. I think when will win there. Right. So this is something I added, so I need to remove it. Ge is something I added, so I need to remove it. So it's object, add for, time, manner, there. Subject, there's no place. Ge, verb 1. And then this whole thing from the to the end is infinitive. Right. So my question is in this formula. Object, word, time, manner, der, subject, place, ge, verb 1, infinitive. And I want my answer now to be in subject, verb 1, stom. I want my answer to look like that. So, the juffrou, I've already given you subject. Now we need verb 1. Where's verb 1? Here's verb 1. Straf. Okay, time or manner. When is usually. When do you do it? I usually do it. How do you do it? I usually. No, it's definitely when. It's definitely not manner. So we need time. Dis dan gereeld. Then, so I have my verb, I have my time. Object, die wetenskapklas. Okay, I have object. Do we have manner? We don't have manner, so we're not using it. We don't have place, we're not using it. We don't have a verb to because it's present tense. Die juffrou is daar gereeld die wetenskapklas om hulle 'n les te leer. Okay. Let's just look at one more. Die eienaar word deur die hond in die pad getrek. So this means the owner is being pulled by the dog in the road. And then I give you the hond. So that's how it will look in the exam. So then you go and you go immediately. Okay, I see a word, I see a deer. If a word is here, this means this is supposed to be present tense, so that ge is also something that I added. So immediately you must know this is stuff that I need to remove. So that's what you do immediately. And I know this is object because word will follow object. So, and then subject follows deer. So this is the subject that Mama has given me. And in the road is definitely place. If you're unsure about these things that follow, look at this one. If this is a preposition and then followed by a phrase, then it will most likely be place. So in your answer book, you write die hond is what I'm going to start with. Then I need my verb one, which is trek. So then if I have stompie, I have subject, verb one, then I have time object, the eienaar. Then I have manner, no, I have place in die pad. And I have nothing else left in my sentence, so I put my full stop. Right, guys, so just rewatch this video if you are still a bit unsure. Watch, pause, play wherever you need to. I'll see you in the next video where we will look at past tense, active and passive voice. See you then.